Welcome to Shadow Talkers, where we explore the shadows of the known world and beyond. I am YoKDog.
And I'm RulyWolf.
Hello!
Nibiru, Planet X, the Red Dragon, the Destroyer. If you've heard about Nibiru, there's a lot of buzz on the internet about it. Nibiru is a planet or a brown dwarf star or something very large that supposedly comes around into our solar system approximately every 3,600 years, and we are due for doom and destruction. RulyWolf, what is your take on Nibiru?
Well, I don't think Nibiru is necessarily fictional, but I do believe that our universe is so just huge and advanced that it may be hard to say Planet X or Nibiru itself is in existence. There could be something completely different that's kind of similar. That's my viewpoint. It's a very mysterious thing, and I'm extremely fascinated by it.
It is absolutely fascinating, and the reason why I say that is because there's so much about it. If you go on the internet, it's a buzz about Nibiru, and that Nibiru is coming our way. What I call kind of the doom and gloom people, not to be negative, just the term, and they're always putting dates out about every 3 or 4 months that Nibiru is here in our solar system, which it could be, but they're saying it's in our solar system and it's going to destroy Earth. And they put dates of when it's going to hit us. And here's my thing. You can't put a date on it, because unless you actually have a telescope on this object and or this small planet and its moons that is traveling through space, you can't sit there and start claiming that, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. So, the last one just happened. What was that, RulyWolf? It was in... I know there was one on September 22nd, and that failed.
Right. So the most recent one was around November 20th. Several different places are reporting 19th, 20th, but so it's kind of vague, but it's that specific time frame. And that one was actually pushed from October 15th time frame. That was initially when it was supposed to happen, but when it got closer and then they pushed it and said, oh no, it's going to happen in November. Which it's now December at the time of this recording, and right. We're doing all right.
December of 2017.
And the end of the world predictions or mass catastrophe predictions in regards to Nibiru have actually been going on since 2012. Nibiru is much older than that. The planet was actually first mentioned in 1976 in a book by Zachariah Sitchin, and forgive me if I mispronounced that, but he actually mentioned the book mentioned Nibiru in his book, and he actually believed it was home to ancient aliens called the Anunnaki, and he also claimed that they created the human race. And there are lots of places that say the Anunnaki are from or on planet Nibiru, and there's more speculation with that. That's a whole other can of fish, though.
Wouldn't that be can of worms?
Can of worms, can of well, I don't know. Sardines are in a can, so can of fish.
Tuna fish in a can.
Delicious. And so, Nibiru has been around for a very long time, and there are a lot of Christians and Christian organizations that are finding mentions of possible mentions of Nibiru and the Anunnaki in the Bible, actually. So this has been something that's been talked about for a long time. The actual end of the world stuff, though, is more relative to about 2012.
Yes. Now, and I don't have the exact details on this, but I know that a lot of people believe that in the late 1980s that one of our infrared telescopes captured Nibiru far away, and then as soon as astronomers realize that, hey, this thing's moving and it's moving our way, all of a sudden the telescope stopped working, according to rumor, and that we could no longer follow it. But then as time went on, Google came up with Google Space, and you could track the universe and see what's going on out there. Supposedly it's using all sorts of telescopes, and the location of where this mini solar system, or Nibiru, was traveling, because some people are saying Nibiru actually has moons around it, that area actually got blocked out. And there's a thing that NASA does, and Google Maps was doing, and other internet companies that are watching the space were all blocking out that same location, but just putting a black box over it so you couldn't see what was out there. So this has definitely spurred on a lot of people's imaginations, and or maybe it's real and they're hiding something from us. I don't know. But it's interesting, because why would NASA and these other companies be blocking out stuff? Just saying.
Exactly. Well, and actually NASA came out and said that Nibiru doesn't exist.
Right.
They have an article from 2012 about why the world didn't end, and they had an editor's update from 2017 saying that Nibiru wouldn't cause a collision in September because it doesn't exist. So there could be several reasons that Nibiru could really not exist, and they're getting sick of people saying that the world's going to end. Nibiru does exist, and there is a very real possibility that it will cause mass catastrophic events, such as half the world having tsunamis and earthquakes and being wiped out, to the entire planet being destroyed, or even just being knocked out of our gravitational orbit with the sun, and that would completely change everything. And so it's hard to say what is going on when NASA's saying it's not real. However, when things are being blocked out, it's very suspicious.
Right, it is. It just, there's so much to Nibiru, or like Planet X, and like I had named before, the other names for the planet, that it's hard to cover everything in just one show. So we may bring up some more stuff. But for those who may not know about Nibiru is supposed to be coming into the solar system. It is supposed to be larger than Earth, about 4 times the size of Earth, approximately. And again, this is all speculation by people. And it's supposed to come into the solar system, but it's going to have such a large gravitational pull, it's going to start pulling the planets out of their normal orbit. And this is where all the havoc and destruction is supposed to happen, because as it does that, it's going to disrupt. There is a main asteroid belt in our solar system that is around the inner planets like Earth and Mars. We're on the inside of that belt, where Jupiter is on the outside of that belt. But it's supposed to come in and start knocking these asteroids around, and then they're going to come flying into Earth and destroy us. Also, too, it's going to flip our poles. It's going to flip the magnetic poles. Well, there's different speculations that because of the gravitational pull, it'll flip the magnetic poles, wreaking havoc. And or some people will say it will actually flip the poles of the natural poles of the Earth, changing everything completely. There's supposed to be like approximately 4 days of darkness, 3 or 4 days of darkness, because it's going to come between us and the sun, so we lose the sun, and just, a miserable time if this is really truly real. I'm not saying it is.
Well, and I think whether it is or not, YoKDog and I had actually gone to a planetarium over the summer and watched a presentation on black holes. And there are so many things out there that could potentially cause something. Nibiru isn't the only thing, and a lot of people are focusing on just Nibiru, but our universe is just immense, and as far as we know, it's never ending. It just goes on and on. And in our day-to-day lives, you know, it's hard to focus outside yourself or, you know, your surroundings, but when you really look at it, we're just like specks of dust in the universe, like microscopic little specks of dust, because you just go out a little bit and we're nothing. There's so much that could happen, and it's honestly a little terrifying. So even if Nibiru is out there and could cause something, there's so many other things that could cause catastrophic events as well.
Exactly. Yes, our universe is not static. It is very active. And for those of you who may not know, the U.S. alone has, not alone, but we have satellites that are way out in space and turned around, and they're called Earth-facing satellites, which basically they watch the sun. And you can see different planets going in their orbits as it goes around the sun, and it's fascinating because you're going to see a lot of, if you go and watch it, because the government puts it up, it's on their website. One is SOHO, that's SOHO, and one is LASCO. And if you go look at their websites, you can watch and see what's out there. In fact, many things have been captured on camera that people are like, well, what the heck is that? That's not normal. And then the funny thing is then NASA goes in sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and they block it out. It's like they don't try to blur it out. They don't use Adobe and try to make it like it's something else. They just go put a black box over top of it so you can't see what's there, which, again, if they're going to claim, well, you know, these conspiracy theory people are just making this up. Okay, well, great. If they're making it up, then why are you blocking it out? You shouldn't be doing that. So that just fuels the fire. And then makes people go, well, wait a minute. How can you block that out?
Yeah, the minute you tell me, oh, you know, this isn't real, but then I'm going to do something strange, I'm not going to believe what you're saying. It's going to be very hard for me to believe you are being sincere if you say, this doesn't exist, but then anytime something strange is going on, you cover it up. Right.
I create electronic music, and years ago when I first heard about Nibiru, I kind of did a composition on it because I find it very fascinating, because I will not discount out that there could be a small dwarf star traveling through our solar system. You know, we don't know anything about the solar system compared to what's really happening. I mean, it's so minimal what our technology shows us. So let's say it is coming through. So anyhow, I call it Nibiru, and you can go to bluestatic.com, and that's BLUSTATIQ. So I do spell it a little bit different, bluestatic.com. And if you put in for Nibiru, I'll give that music to you for free if you want to download it. Just use the password Nibiru and you can get it. And if you don't, that's okay too. But I did that, and because I find it fascinating. Again, it's something, you know, would be very traumatizing going through our solar system. So one other thing I want to say, RulyWolf, and that is there is another theory out there that Jupiter is really Nibiru, and Jupiter does not have, you know, you see graphs of of the planets, you know, circling happily around the sun, and everything stays in this orbit, and it really doesn't. Jupiter has a different orbit than the other planets, and it's an odd orbit at times. And the belief is that, well, one, there is a asteroid belt around us, like I said, and Jupiter's on the outside, and they're saying at one time that Jupiter actually dipped in closer to the sun, got into that asteroid belt, just started knocking those asteroids all over the place, which caused major damage. And that's why they think, some people believe that's when the dinosaurs died. That Jupiter dipped in there, knocked those planets or asteroids in, they came in and started crashing all over the Earth. And it would also probably, potentially could flip the poles and everything, because Jupiter is a huge gravitational planet. I mean, I know that's not correct. Sorry, that's not correct terminology. But the gravitational pull on Jupiter is gargantuan. And it's a dead gas star, so it's possible that Jupiter is Nibiru. That's another really good theory, I think.
It is. That's a very good theory. There's so many theories.
Right.
Out there. It's amazing. But that's what makes humans epically awesome, is because we have these possibilities that, we're able to form these theories and possibilities. It makes our lives much more interesting than if we were not thinking creatures. That's for sure.
Exactly. And yeah, you can go out, if you have not researched Nibiru or anything, go online. It's just fascinating. And whether it's true or not, whether you want to believe it or not, is irrelevant. It's fun. It's like reading a book that's just like, I don't believe it, but I'm sure having fun reading it. So
exactly. And you'll fall down a rabbit hole with this. The more you look at it, the more that's out there. And there's so many theories that are linked to Nibiru that you wouldn't even have thought would be linked to them. And it's a lot of fun to fall down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And we will be exploring some more of these theories.
Yeah, don't bump your head as you're falling.
In future episodes.
Well, something really funny is, not funny, but something that when you go on there, like on YouTube and stuff, people are posting pictures and videos of things that they're capturing in the sky. And of course, automatically, you're like, right away, there are pictures, and they are sun flares on the camera. You can tell. It's like, okay, come on now. But there's other videos and pictures that make you scratch your head. Like, that's kind of interesting because, like on the videos, you'll see them move the camera and they'll be like, look, whatever this is, you can see the lens flares on my camera moving, but that object in the sky is not moving. Which, by the way, Nibiru, the reason why you don't see it in the skies all the time, and again, I'm putting out there what other people say, is that it's coming from behind the sun. So we can't see it because of the sun. But supposedly every now and then, it kind of peeks out around the sun, and that's when people are getting pictures. I don't know if they're just sitting there taking pictures with the camera all day long. Who knows? But yeah, that's why you can't see Nibiru, and that's when it's going to sneak up on us, according to what people are saying, and that it's going to dip down around the sun and then come up between us and the sun, and then we're in trouble. If it's real.
Right. Well, we'll eventually find out.
Yes. If it's out there, we'll know about it. There will be a time that there will be no question at all. But it is.
Exactly.
It's fascinating.
And who knows? It could be another 100 years, not even in our lifetime. But someday there will be an answer.
Exactly. But in the meantime, we'll just enjoy life and keep moving forward.
Exactly. And we'll get to speculate all we want.
I will say this. If you are one of those people listening and you're the ones speculating that you can pick a date, you cannot pick a date on something like this until you actually see it. It would become visible in the sky that it couldn't be hidden. I don't know if any of you are familiar with geoengineering, and they're able to spray the skies with a substance that they're trying to manipulate the weather. They're calling it geoengineering, and a lot of people believe too that spraying is to cover up hiding Nibiru, which I don't agree with, because you can't keep that kind of cover all the time. And then if Nibiru is real and it comes into our solar system and becomes visible to the eye, we're probably already going to be having issues with the planet, being changed by the gravitational pull. So again,
exactly. And we are seeing some small things happening, but they're not necessarily they've not necessarily never happened before, and things like that. Like recently, southern Texas got snow, which is not normal, but it did get snow in the 1980s. So
although
there are, you can't necessarily say, this thing has caused by Nibiru or anything like that, because it has happened before. Let me rephrase that. You can say it was caused by Nibiru, and there's the potential for it. You know, maybe in the 80s it made a pass and changed things enough that there was the potential for snow. However, that would completely negate the, oh, Nibiru is going to end the world because it's close, because that's just proof that it was here in the 1980s and we're still here.
Right, exactly.
So the end of the world stuff is really hard to pinpoint, for one. It's a little bit unrealistic, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Which is what it is. It's my opinion and not based on science or anything like that. It's my own personal opinion.
And you brought something up that things are happening right now, and people are using that to claim Nibiru is out there. This is why I said, or like you said, RulyWolf, is that it's a rabbit hole that you fall down. You can keep going down and down. Right now, in December 2017, we are in a solar minimum, and you can go research that. I'm not going to get into it now. But when you're in a solar minimum, we have a lot of pressure put onto the Earth's crust by the sun and the solar winds and all that. Again, I'm not going to get into it all. But it causes more earthquakes, more volcanoes. The planet becomes more lively. So people are now saying, oh, look, that proves Nibiru is in our system. I'm saying, no, it's a solar minimum. You can't, it's a proven fact right now. There's a solar minimum. And things happen that cause stress on the planet's crust. But, people just jump out there and say, Nibiru, the sky is falling. It's here. We're doomsday. I don't believe it. And quite frankly, as far as, in all honesty, I will not discount that there is a possibility of something like Nibiru, but until I see it, I'm not even going to believe it. Even though I created some music, it was just fun. The music was fun. What it would be like if Nibiru was coming through the solar system.
Right. And I think we touched on this in our last episode, that this is for fun.
Yes.
We are not making any claims.
You're not conspiracy theorists.
Backing anything.
We're just throwing things out there that, if you just cruise through the internet, there's a lot of interesting things. And, we've dealt with some stuff in our lifetime, like in the last episode, that make you go, that's kind of weird. Do I believe it? I don't know.
Exactly. And it's really fun when you kind of let your, you kind of relax your brain a little bit and let it just kind of look at things from an uninhibited point of view, per se, without making a, oh, this is wrong or this is wrong judgment. This stuff is a lot of fun to look at, because there's so many possibilities out there, and the things that people have theories on, it's fascinating. And so it's good to look at all of this without a specific set point of view, as of, I believe this is right, I believe this is wrong, because you can find some really interesting theories, and it's a lot of fun. It's like reading a fiction book, and I'm not saying it's necessarily fiction, but it's like reading a fiction book and getting really involved with whatever is going on, the plot of that book, except that there's a chance that maybe it's real, and so it's something that can be a lot of fun if you just kind of go at it with an open mind.
Exactly. Well, I think that's about all we can say about Nibiru right now without going down another trail. Unless you had something else, RulyWolf.
Nope. On that note, subscribe to our channel. Give us any comments. We like them all, good or bad. This is always going to be a work in progress. There's always room for improvement. We, of course, will always love positive comments. And we hope you are enjoying the show so far.
Yes. Thank you for taking time to listen to us. Have a great day, and we'll be back on again. Thanks for listening to Shadow Talkers. You can hear more episodes on iTunes or at shadowtalkers.space.